Hey, everybody. Welcome to Prop Live, this special Friday edition of Prop Live, this show that we run every week where we take your questions about prop and costume making and answer them. I'm Bill Duran, the guy from Punish Props, and with us today we have someone who is first time on the show, but I'm really excited to have him. Everybody say hello to Mike from Blind Squirrel Props. Hey, Mike.
Hey there. How's it going?
Everything's going great here. I bet we're getting a lot more rain right now in Seattle than you are down in Arizona.
I think that would be safe to say.
It's a downpour. If the lights go off over here, everybody, it's because there's been a lightning storm in Seattle, which is actually pretty rare. Anyway, we got Mike on here. And for the uninitiated, Mike runs something called Blind Squirrel Props, which has been around for forever.
10 years.
10 years now. Holy crap. BlindSquirrelProps.com is a place for that. I got a thing right here. Check that out. So what I need to know, Mike, because I have personally been following Blind Squirrel Props for a very, very long time. What was the genesis of this whole thing you got going on?
Let me think. Well, it probably goes down to my first project, which was a Stormtrooper blaster rifle. And what happened as I was surfing the web board, like so many of us do, and I ran across a tutorial on the Blaster Builders Club for a Stormtrooper blaster. And, you know, they gave you the templates and all the measurements, and I'm looking at it in the instructions and tutorials. I said, oh, well, hell, I could do that. And it's a gun I always wanted. So, I mean, I was working on this thing at my desk during lunch at my graphic design job. And after that, and I just got the bug to start building.
Yes, as is the case with so many of us. So is this this guy right here, the Blastech E11?
That's it.
I didn't realize that there was a blaster builder club, imperial-fleet.com.
Yeah, I don't know how much action it gets anymore, but that was, you know, well, 10 years ago. So even the RPF was in its infancy.
Oh, yeah. And I imagine a lot of the action from that club is probably moved over to the RPF by now.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. Now, did you start running your blog right away? Like with each project you put out, did you put them on the blog?
Yeah, I was not so much with the blaster, but I think the projects right after that, I started taking pictures. And I think it was because those initial tutorials that had, you know, photos of every step that I decided to start just kind of blogging what I was doing. And I don't know, I just kind of kept doing it.
Yeah, well, so here's the case. Whenever people ask me why I got started, because I do a similar thing, or have been for a while now, doing build write-ups of all the props that I've made. I got the idea, of course, by copying Harrison from Volpin Props. And I make no apologies about that. I just copy. If I could copy everything Harrison does, then I would, because then I would be as good as him. But when you ask him, he always says, oh, he's just copying Mike.
Make me blush.
At least with the running a blog, doing build write-ups for all of the different projects and things seem to always feed their way back to Mike from Blind Squirrel Props.
Yeah, we actually talked on the phone before he started blogging. He had asked if he could, chat with me and ask some advice about, I guess, the hobby / business about prop making. And so, well, I know what I know. I don't know much, but I'm happy to share.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. For those who haven't checked it out, if you go to BlindSquirrelProps.com, you can see what I like is that you've split everything up by projects, and there are a lot of them. So anime, gaming, movies, etc. And there's just tons and tons of great content here. Let me show you again. Just all how-to stuff, just how you build it, similar to how a lot of other people have done it since then. So for the viewers, you should totally go check that out. But you've also got a bunch of really cool kits available, including something like this dragon egg from Game of Thrones. Ta-da! which I have several of as a wedding present for some friends of mine. But there's a bunch of other kits there that are awesome and totally worth checking out. Here, let's check one more time. We got, so I noticing a trend. There is a lot of stuff from Lord of the Rings, along with.
Yeah, I kind of reached a point a few years ago where I was having some of these projects when I was doing commission work. I would have these projects that would go on for months and months and months, and I'd be at the point where I said, you know, the first person that walks in my backyard and offers me $50, they can take all my tools. I'm done. I'm just sick of this. And I mean, it was killing my hobby. You know, I've got a day job, and it's basically the thing that I like to do, and it was killing it. So what I decided to do was just start building things that I personally wanted for my collection. And if someone else wanted a copy, then I would offer it, you know, in the kit as a kit.
I like that model, especially like you said, since you have your day job.
Right.
You just make what you want to make, and then if someone else wants it too, that's great. But if they don't want one, then not a problem.
I got mine.
Yeah, you got the one you want, and you've got also quite the collection behind you there too.
Yeah, let me show that off real quick. So it's basically all the United Cutlery Lord of the Rings stuff. Then I've got some stuff, and there's my shield and Horn of Gondor. So
that's awesome. That is really cool. For the folks watching live, I want to remind everyone that you can dump any prop or costume making questions that you have in the Q&A app on the live event page there, and we will get to answering them soon. I need to fix my light because it's drooping. Oh my goodness. There we go. And cool. What else did I have on here? Oh, so what have you been working on lately? What's your latest and greatest?
Well, I'm in the process of rebuilding and repainting a life-size Ninja Turtle.
Oh, cool! Like the movie era Ninja Turtle.
Not movie era, the new CG show.
Okay, I gotcha.
They came out with these big, I guess it's vinyl figures that are probably about 3.5 feet tall.
Oh wow!
But you know, the color wasn't quite right, and it was just very basic plastic colors, no shading. And you know, the seams and everything. So I'm going through and completely pulling them apart, gluing the parts together, sanding the seam mostly away. I mean, as much as I can stand doing on it, and then giving it a nice paint job to make it look really good.
Cool.
So that's kind of the background project. Finishing up a Dothraki sword from Game of Thrones. I'm just missing a gem on that, so that'll be done. And let me think. Oh, and I've got, since I'm ordering one of the Novos Stormtrooper suits, I also ordered a blaster. So it's a blaster kit. And, you know, it's 90% accurate. And now I've fallen down the rabbit hole and fixing everything that's not accurate on it. So
there you go. Cool. I do like, too, that you do an update, a blog update, like once a week or so on your website.
Try and do it once a week. A lot of times I'm going through the photos from the weekend and saying, I didn't get anything done. There's no point in wasting everyone's time by posting them. So sometimes it's 2 or 3 weeks.
Cool. So, all right, awesome. Well, everyone watching, you guys definitely, like I said, go over to Blind Squirrel Props, check out the blog to see what Mike's working on currently, check out all the past projects, and check out all the kits, because there are a lot of them. And I can personally attest that these kits are fantastic. These eggs are awesome, worth every penny.
Cool.
I want to talk about what I'm working on.
Please.
A couple things. We are doing a sale this week, a summer sale. It does end today, but if people want to head over to punishedprops.com and check out all of the Punished Props digital content, including our ebooks on foam armor making and some blueprints, digital blueprints and all that stuff, it's all at least 25% or more off. So it's Friday, it's payday. If you're looking to get some digital content, head on over there today. And then the other thing, I've been working on my new costume for PAX and Dragon Con. And of course, I'm making it all out of foam because that's how I roll. My wife and I did a live stream on Monday of this week, and we'll post a link to all this stuff in the chat or in the description The live stream was 16 straight hours that we did, which was really fun and crazy.
That last hour is interesting.
It got, there was a moth incident where I freaked out a little bit about a moth. I did get a lot of work done on my costume. You can see it in the background right here. But I'm working on Lord Shax from Destiny. So that's what I got going on over there. And I've been posting regular photo updates every day or so on my social media outlets, and that should be coming together in the next week or so.
Awesome.
So everyone ought to go check out those live streams if you got 16 hours to kill. There's 2 different videos. But it was fun. It was really fun. We had guests on. We had giveaways, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Cool.
Yes. I don't think we'll be doing that again for a while, though. All right.
Box out.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're just about ready to start taking some questions from the audience here. Again, everybody watching live, there's a Q&A app at the event page. You can post your questions there. They'll show up on my screen over here, and then we can start answering them. But first, we got some questions from from Facebook earlier today. The first one comes from my wife, Brittany, and she wants to know where the name Blind Squirrel comes from.
Well, it's an expression that I've always loved, where it says, even a blind squirrel, what is it now? Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
Oh, there you go.
So, and that definitely describes the early prop building where, half of what I was building was working, and then I'd have to do it again. It still bites me in the ass, and you just have to accept that you're going to screw up and just do it again.
I've done that twice this week. I know that for a fact. I did that once today. I was building a knee piece for my armor, and I built it, and I looked at it, and I was like, nope, threw it away, built another one.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that is a good, I like that saying a lot. Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while. Thank you, Brittany, for that question. All right, this next one here comes from Fenry. Let's see here. I've seen multiple people use baby powder in the molding process. What is the baby powder used for? Is it a mold release alternative? Do you use baby powder, Mike?
I do.
Me too.
I don't know if it's a mold release, but it definitely cuts down on your bubbles because it breaks the surface tension, so air bubbles can't cling to the little parts in your mold and make for a crappy casting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do too. If you're especially if you use something that kicks pretty fast, like a resin that kicks pretty fast, it can catch bubbles in there pretty quickly. Yep. So yeah, I use baby powder on just about everything. I also like the finish it comes out with, as opposed to spraying like ease release in there.
Right.
It feels a little slimy coming out.
Well, I hate washing pieces with the mold release, so if I don't have to do it, I don't do it.
Yeah, just about everything I do, I just dump baby powder in there. You do want to make sure that the baby powder doesn't clump up in any little crevices. So I'll usually blast it with my air gun to make sure that doesn't happen.
See, I just blow it out, or use a brush or something. But
yeah,
even today I found a clump that ruined a piece. So
yeah, it's always a bummer.
It happens.
We had it's upstairs. We were doing a mask, like a slush cast mask, and some of the metal powder we used, instead of putting baby powder in there, we put metallic powder to cold cast it. And some of the metal powder clumped up in some of the crevices so that when the casting came out, those were just big old bubbles. So what we did with that piece instead, since it was copper metal, we just dumped a patina solution all over the entire thing, and it rusted the whole thing.
That's awesome.
So those bubbles were just part of the weathering.
Well, it's nice, when you can. The worst thing to build is something that has to be pristine.
Mm-hmm.
When you can build something that, like something an orc made.
Yeah.
Oh, I screwed that up. Oh, well, battle damage.
Or something from Mad Max.
Right.
Oh, I dropped it on. You could actually. Who was it? There's another prop maker I follow. I remember he built a gun, I think from Gears of War. He put it together and then he dragged it on his gravel driveway and just scuffed the crap out of it, and it looked great. It looked perfectly weathered.
It's hard enough for me to do the heavy weathering. I have to kind of hold my breath and just, I hope this turns out good. I don't think I could drag it across the driveway.
No. All right. Thank you, Fenry, for your question. Go get yourself some baby powder. It also makes it smell really nice in the shop.
Like a baby.
Like a newborn baby. That's how I feel about a piece, right as you pop it out.
That's right.
It's a new baby. All right, this next question came in from Facebook earlier today. It's from Axeman's Projects, and the question is: My Dumb Projects was one of the first prop sites that I follow. I don't know what My Dumb Projects is.
That was the predecessor to Blind Squirrel Props.
Oh, cool. Let's see the rest of the question. Originally found you on the Blaster Building contest in 2006. Cool. He says, thanks for everything and getting me started in that.
Well, you're welcome, and I apologize.
I apologize for all of your disposable income and
That's right.
how it's gone now.
Yep,
and free time.
All the resin you've spilled on your carpet and on your floor.
Yeah, that's fun. It's fun to follow sort of the backstory of people's pages and where they came from.
Yeah, My Dumb Projects ran for probably about 3 or 4 years, and then I kind of felt like I wanted to redesign it, and I'd been using the Blind Squirrel name for a while, so I just started changed over the prop name to that, or the blog name to that.
Yeah, mine started as a photography blog.
No kidding.
It just sort of, yeah, that was my thing when I was still working in corporate America. I was like, I'm going to be a world famous photographer, and I ran a photography blog for a long time. And then I shot a bunch of weddings, and I was like, that doesn't sound like any fun. I'm going to be a hobbyist photographer. Let's try prop making. Let's do that instead.
Next is lion taming.
Yeah. All right. This next one comes from my buddy Terry over at Vector Sigma Creations. He wants to know what Mike's favorite medium to work with and why.
Favorite medium.
Are you a MDF guy? You use a lot of MDF?
Yeah, I use a ton of MDF. Maybe that's it.
Have you ever used LDF?
Uh-uh.
So Adam Savage talks about this all the time, and that's Google. Stop it. There's this company called Trupan. I think that's what it's called, and they make something called LDF. Yeah, here it is, or HDF, MDF, HDF panels. I haven't got my hands on any, but it's like MDF, but it doesn't have formaldehyde in it, which is awesome, and it's not as heavy.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on some of that. But I also use a lot of MDF. MDF and Styrene probably are the two
right
big ones. Have you ever worked with EVA foam?
Very little. Yeah, I did.
This is my shark bracer.
I did a Sauron helmet for Halloween one year, just because I hated my original, and I wanted something. I didn't want to take out my nice resin one, to bars and stuff. So I made a really quickie EVA version. But I haven't done as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, it's fun. I just love how quickly I can get results with it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying too, if I'm going to make nowadays, if I go to a convention in a costume, if I have a gun, I'd rather have an EVA one that I can drop or lose and not worry too much about.
Yeah.
So that's what I still build my resin cast ones, but they kind of go on the wall.
Sure.
And then I'll bring an EVA gun build or something. It's also fun too. I had a revolver for my other Destiny costume. It's fun to throw it at my friends when they don't realize that it's foam, and they're like, "Oh!" They freak out.
Yeah, I saw that build. That was really cool. It turned out nice.
Cool. So yeah, MDF and Styrene. That's a good combo right there, Terry. I'm sure Terry. I don't know if you follow Vector Sigma Creations, but he's really, really good.
Yep.
We'll link to his page in the description. He does a lot of the similar stuff. I got to see what he's working on lately. All right. Thank you, Terry. Next question. This one's from one of our regulars, Lee. Is there anything I should look for or keep in mind if I'm attending a convention in full EVA foam armor without a handler? Mike and I were just talking about, Mike's in Phoenix, about being around in your full judge costume out in Phoenix. What was that like?
Well, you know, I think both times I've gone out and it was about 105 outside. But the great thing about Phoenix is there's like next to no humidity. So you're feeling the heat hitting the leather, but it's really not penetrating the way it does with regular clothing. So it's more kind of a stuffiness, kind of a, not even a sauna, but it's just stuffy. So I had to walk about 5 blocks, you know, in about 30 pounds of leather and armor. And, you know, never really, you know, the sweating wasn't too bad. So
what I would definitely say, if you're going to walk around, my light keeps going. There we go. If you're going to be walking around in full armor, anything that just doesn't breathe like leather or EVA foam, then drink lots of water. That's really important.
Take breaks.
Yeah, take breaks. Take your helmet off. If you can, take pieces of your armor off. So we'll be at like Dragon Con, and if I've been in my EVA armor all day long, I'll zip up to my room, take the chest off, and just breathe for a little while, drink some water. But yeah, definitely take breaks. Let's see. Lee is also worried about durability. Like if you're going to be in EVA armor all day long at a convention, I have never had problems with durability. I build my stuff to be pretty bulletproof, though. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And the great news about that is if it breaks, then you can just super glue it back together in your hotel room.
You know, a good idea too is after you've built your armor or your suit is wear it around the house for a couple of days.
That is a really good idea.
If it's going to break, it'll break then. And you can either rebuild something or build it better.
Exactly, yeah. And plus it's fun to wear your armor around the house.
That's right.
Cool. Well, there's some suggestions for you there, Lee. Why is my light just not staying put? All right. Cool. Let's see. This next one comes from Sam over at Bio Cosplay. He says, what is your least favorite costume or prop that you've made?
Least favorite.
The first one, probably.
Well, I guess when I say least favorite, I mean, I think they've all turned out pretty good. My least favorite as far as just the ordeal of going through building it might be like the Magic Knights rare swords.
Yeah.
Which were so crazy complex. And I think, I can't remember, there was a red one that was just a freaking nightmare with all, because it was all, you know, hand carved little appendages and clear resin. It should be, that's...
Yeah, I got it up here, or one of them at least.
That's one of them.
Yeah. Have you ever had any projects that where you just kept running into problems or had just some disasters or anything? Because I have a couple of those.
Yeah, I was building the let's say it's the Paracelsus Key. It should be in the anime section there. It's this 8-foot tall or 7-foot tall key, and even though it's for its size, it's not that heavy. When you get to that scale, I mean, just everything is different than what you're used to building for, you know, 3 or 4 feet long. So that was just a nightmare, just trying to get that thing built, durable, and relatively light.
I did something. There was nothing too complex about the build, but I did a rifle from Starcraft, the Ghost rifle, and I just had. It was just one of those projects where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was my first big mold. I had never made a mold that big, and I had like the mold walls buckle, and I spilled silicone everywhere, and then I had tons of curing inhibition with the silicone.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a very emotional build. But I finished it, damn it. So there you go. Those are some of my least favorites. Thanks, Sam. Sam, I think it's... Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. Looking at all the questions. This next one comes from Valor Props. Let's see here. What was the website you used to get the custom pattern printed for your undersuit again? That was fabricondemand.com. Let's see here. Yes, so this is the website, Fabric on Demand. It was a little bit convoluted to get there. They do things like this Spider-Man, which is like their hero suit, and it's not loading. But I had to go to their FAQ, and then they had, do you print stretchy superhero costumes like Superman or Spider-Man? And then when you click there, it brings you to a purchase page. Boop, there it is, and it was $150. So that's what I did. Fabric on Demand. We'll put a link in the chat
cool
for that. Have you ever done any sort of custom printing or gotten anything printed like that?
No. There was a project that I was kind of interested in trying to locate something like that, and I'd definitely look at it again. Yeah.
So I did for mine. I took a bodysuit pattern. I just bought one that had a PDF that was you're supposed to print out in pages. Instead, I stitched all those pages together in Photoshop and made sure it was scaled appropriately. And then I drew my body pattern on that in Photoshop and then had Fabric on Demand print it.
Nice.
And it was cool. A couple things to consider. It's going to print darker than you think.
Okay.
Most printing.
How much?
What was that?
How much darker?
It didn't make it like unusable. In fact, when the cloth stretches a little bit, it gets lighter. Okay. But I would probably make it like 10 or 15% less dark than you think it needs to be when you're sending it off to get printed. And then so then I got the cloth and then I handed it off to a friend of mine who's good at sewing bodysuits together, and she sewed it together for me. Put a zipper on the back, put a zipper on the front. And it was really, really fantastic. And then I left it in a hotel in San Jose, and I've never seen it since. Yep, that's a bummer. But I will say the process was really cool. And the people at Fabric on Demand were really good and accommodating. And they sell a good product.
Cool.
All right. Another one, again, you guys, if you're watching live, you go to the Q&A app in the event page, and you can send us questions about prop and costume making, and we'll answer them. Just like this question from Michael. The question is, can I cover EVA foam with fiberglass? Do you use something else? Sure, you can cover it in fiberglass. We've done that before. The great thing about the EVA foam versus something like styrofoam is that it will not melt when you put things on it like acetone or polyester resin. We did a Draugr costume from Skyrim a few years ago, and the helmets were done. They were patterned out in EVA, and then they were fiberglassed, just like that. And so it's rock solid.
Did you use any sort of cloth, or you just went straight resin?
We did on the outside we did resin, on the inside we did resin and cloth to make it durable. Yeah, and then the outside was faired with Bondo and smoothed out, and then we added all the texture to it.
Awesome.
I say we, I mean my wife Brittany. She actually did all the fabrication on that one.
The Imperial we.
Yes, the punished props we. So you can totally put fiberglass over EVA. Just don't try and do that with something you made out of styrofoam. It'll melt.
True.
Have you done much stuff with fiberglass, Mike?
Very little. I'm kind of squeamish about its toxic properties, so I tend to fall more into the smooth-on resins, those kind of things.
Yeah, we've done a little bit with mold jackets, building mold jackets out of fiberglass. And now people like our buddy Harrison and my buddy Frank Ippolito are telling me to just use epoxy, like the EpoxAmite that Smoothcast sells for that. So we're going to start using that the next time I need to do any fiberglassing. Much less toxic. All right. Thank you, Michael, for your question. This next one comes from Matthew. How could one go about getting one of those cold cast Dragon Priest masks or the space gun, one of my space guns? Those we are not selling right now. Because we don't have, we're just strapped for time right now as far as adding new things to the store. But if you go to Blind Squirrel Props, Mike has a whole store full of stuff you can check out. Again, a lot of people, like right now, our store is mostly just digital content because that's what we're focusing on right now while we're trying to, we're building a new website. We have a whole bunch of other things. But people like Mike or Harrison Cricks over at Volpin Props or a bunch of other people do have stores where you can buy kits. So I recommend you go check out what Mike has to offer over there and possibly pick up one of those. If you want a space gun, maybe this Outlaw Star caster gun. Look at that. That is something else. All right. So unfortunately, Matthew, those two things that you want, we are not currently offering. Sorry. And another question, this one from Matthew again. Since you left your undersuit in San Jose, what are you planning on wearing under your Shax armor? Shax is going to be mostly athletic clothing. And this is actually a good tip for most space armor. If you need something to wear underneath it, look at athletic clothing. Look at paintball like armor that they make. It's like, it looks like space armor. It looks all sci-fi. They print wacky stuff on there. And then my pants are just going to be like tactical cargo pants that we got on Amazon, which is another good. That's a good one just to have for. It's good for most costumes. You can wear it for multiple things. But for those things, we'll end up putting like snaps and stuff right on the shirt or pants so that we can just snap the armor right to it.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
yeah, it'll. I did that with my bodysuit for the other one. I just sewed some snaps to it, and that worked out. So I'll do the same thing with this. The pants and the shirt are pretty plain. They're like dark gray. And then to add instead of sewing pants to look all custom, I'm just going to use fabric paint and just lean on my art school skills and just paint paint the pants a different color. That's a good case where going with what you know or the skills that you know you're already good at pays off. I am bad at sewing, but I am pretty good at painting. For Mike, for your you have your Judge Dredd costume, the super legit Judge Dredd costume. Did you do the leather on that, or was that something you outsourced?
No, my original suit, actually I'm on my second suit. My original one was Real Images, and that started as part of the Judge Dredd costume group on Facebook. And one of the guys there had access to one of the film suits, sent it over to Pakistan, had them reverse engineer it, and then got a whole bunch of people to go in on a group buy. And we're able to get the vest, the pants, and the jacket just pretty dirt cheap. Since then, I've bought a second set from a company called Leather Next in England, and it's it's pretty accurate, or as far as I can tell, it's accurate, and it's a much softer grade of leather, so it's a lot more comfortable. It bends better, and in fact, I even have a second jacket that I wear. You know, it's my daily wear jacket.
So you went and bought. Were they identical, or?
They were very, very close to identical. Yes.
So you just got two because you knew one of them you were going to wear every day.
Right. And I sold.
That's cool.
I sold my original suit.
Yeah.
So I had to pay for the new suit.
I've never been to this website before, so leathernext.com.
Right.
We will link to them in the show notes.
Yeah, I got my gloves from them and my boots from them too, as well.
Oh yeah, this is cool. So they have a movie replica section on their site with things like the lawman gloves, or the elbows and knee pads, or the lawman vest with the neck roll. And they have is that an N7 jacket? Hold on, hold the phone. Oh boy, now I need one of those too.
The quality is so nice. I mean, the leather is like butter.
Oh, that's cool.
Really good.
All right. Well, I might have to ask for that for Christmas then.
Oh, and if you follow them on Facebook, they'll give you a little discount code.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe on your order.
This is cool too. They've got the jackets like Wolverine, who is my favorite mutant, and a bunch of other. Oh, replica Fight Club. Man, this is no good. I want all of these. Cool. And finally, let's see here. Oh, Sky jacket. Is it like a star ski jacket?
Yeah, maybe.
That's fun. That's fun. Cool.
Yeah, nice stuff.
So that's actually a really good point too. There's also UD replicas.
Right, which I'm shocked they didn't pick up the license for Judge Dredd. It just seems so natural for them.
Yeah, it does. A lot of times, and it may, I mean, it's going to be pricier, obviously, to go with the solution, but you may want to build a costume, and it turns out a company like Leather Next or UD Replicas will already have something that's close enough.
Right.
My buddy Dan did a Snake Eyes costume. Was it these guys? He did a Snake Eyes costume from the new movie, the new G.I. Joe movies, and he just bought like the leather jacket that someone had available. And I think it's a motorcycle jacket.
Cool.
But it looks awesome. And he just built the helmet and the rest of the costume around it. So it's definitely worth seeing if there are licensed products that are good enough to wear as a costume. Like this, let's see here. Batman Arkham Knight leather motorcycle suit. Holy crap. That's so cool. Boy, they ain't cheap, but those look really, really legit.
I would love to get their Dark Knight suit.
Dark Knight Rises. They got a Bane vest. Man. Cool. Well, there you go, guys. A whole bunch of stuff for you to add to your Christmas wish list. All right. Let's see here. Michael wants to know, EVA foam can be formed, or can it be formed to look like two plates that have been welded together? Do you use a different technique or material? I have the tool right here. You ready, Michael? The best tool for that? Hot glue gun. Boom. You can take your hot glue gun and your seam on your foam, and you can put a bead of hot glue. And if you're good, if you practice enough, you can make that bead of hot glue look like a weld. And then paint metal over the top of it, and it'll look like a welded seam. Or there's other things you can use like Puffy Paint. Or, yeah. Again, a lot of that comes down to just your practicing with it.
And practice on a scrap first.
Definitely. That really needs to be like the what's the word? The slogan for this show. Practice on a scrap.
Yeah.
Fortunately, though, I have a whole bin down here of scrap foam right there that I can work with. All right. Another one here. This one's from Fernie. Let's see. I've only seen one-sided cold cast like a pendant. I want to build a Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget hand, but I was thinking about cold casting it. Or would it be better to use a metallized paint? So I think Fernie's worried about doing a two-part mold that's going to have a seam if you're going to be cold casting it.
Right.
The problem with that is the seam needs to be nearly flawless. Really
I mean, if it's two part, I mean, two parts where you're going to be pouring into it, right?
Yeah.
Is that, you think that's what they're? Yeah, that's.
The example I like.
Issue.
What was that?
The seam is always going to be an issue on that.
It is. Your mold making and casting skills need to be on point to make it, because you can't sand and finish that seam to be flush. The example I like to use is Harrison's steel axe from Skyrim. Steel axe, because that one, I have one of those, and it was cold cast, and it's a two-part mold. This guy right here. So that's the in-game art. Let's jump to the bottom here. There we go. So these are the castings, and you cast them with an aluminum powder in them, and the seam is along the edge of the blade. So that's pretty easy to clean up. But there are a couple of spots where the seam does have to jump across some faces. and you're never going to get it perfect, and you're never going to get it to go totally away, but you can put it in places where it's a lot less noticeable.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you got to do. But a lot of that comes down to planning, how you plan before you start building your mold. But it is possible. It's just very tricky.
Yes. I've
had some molds that I put together and be like, plan on cold casting them, and then afterwards I'm like, nah, it's not going to happen. Sometimes there are molds that just the way they're put together, you're going to have some cleanup work or whatever. Yep. There you go, Fernie. Let's see. This next one comes from Tim. He's starting his Gears of War boots. He plans on building them around boots, like you suggested. I was going to add a wood base and screw through the insoles to attach the boots, and then foam build around that. Any other tips? That sounds like a pretty solid idea. I guess he wants to be taller.
Sounds like it.
Have you ever done anything where you've modified footwear?
Well, I had to do a lot of additions to the Judge Dredd boots.
Yeah.
So there was some riveting, there's some sewing, there's some, for gluing rubber parts onto leather, you need a specific kind of rubberized CA glue. It's a lot of experimentation to try and get something, especially, with a foot where it's moving and leather is stretching, and there's a lot of factors that you have to work around.
For what I do is I have my running shoes, and when they wear out, I keep them. So I have some crummy old running shoes over there that I can experiment on for a costume if I need to do that sort of stuff.
Excellent.
Because I will likely ruin a pair, and I don't want to ruin a brand new pair of shoes. So keep your old shoes, everybody. Just keep them in a part of your house that you're not going to smell. I would also recommend, if you want to be taller, and I did this for my Destiny costume, and I'm going to do it for my Shaxx costume, because I'm 5'9", and Shaxx is at least 6 feet. He's probably much taller than that. I got some motorcycle boots. In fact, they're hiding right down there. So the motorcycle boots have about 1.5 inches on the heel already, which is awesome. And then you can buy heel inserts, and we'll have to find a link and put it in the description of this video. But I bought some of those on eBay, and they're just wedges. They're like wedged-shaped rubber things that you jam in the heel of your shoe, and it's like you're walking on your tippy toes all day, like high-heeled shoes, except it's hidden inside of your boot. So that'll give you a couple more inches on top of the boots that you have. And then you could also attach, let's say, what was he saying? Wood to the bottom of his shoe to be even taller, and then probably glue some rubber on there so that you don't slip around a lot.
Good idea.
In fact, actually, my buddy Evil Ted did a video on that. We'll have to find that. Ted built shoes that had a platform like 6 inches tall out of wood that he screwed in, and then I believe he just glued rubber to the bottom so he didn't fly around everywhere. I'll have to find that video and link it in the description.
Didn't Harrison do it for what's it, Big Daddy?
Oh, probably, yeah. We could look that up as well. Harrison's Big Daddy. There you go, Tim. Whole bunch of tips for you to become taller in your costume. Great. Next question. Oh, we've got just over 10 minutes left here, and we have a couple of questions. We'll chew through those in no time flat. All right. Don't Try This at Home wants to know, are you live 24/7 now, Bill? Can't think of a time where I turned the computer on and didn't see you doing something. That was just Monday, the live stream. We're going to take it easy. Just do the normal weekly live stream for a while we jam getting ready for PAX and Dragon Con. Mike, are you getting ready for any upcoming conventions?
There's a convention coming up in November, and was it Mesa Comics Media Expo, something like that. Actually, I'm going to be a guest judging the Masquerade, and probably doing a panel or two. I'm not sure yet.
Cool.
Then there's a Phoenix Comic Con that they're doing, I think, in January. So I'll probably go to that one, and then of course next summer, Phoenix Comic Con.
That's cool. I remember now they did, because there was the one earlier this year in Phoenix I did not go to because I was in New York. But they've got a couple more in the greater Phoenix area. Let's see. This one is comicmediaexpo.com. Is that the Mesa one? At the Mesa Convention Center in October.
That's it.
Glamorous guests. Cool. Looks like there's a whole bunch of cool people who are going to be there, including Kiba the cosplay corgi. Ah, I got to meet Kiba when I was at what was that? Phoenix Comic Con a couple of years ago. He was adorable. Oh, and then Mel, Wind of the Stars, is going to be there too. That's cool. Yeah. Well, that should be really fun. If anyone's in the area, they should go to the Mesa Comic Media Expo. All right. Thank you. Don't try this at home. Here we go. This one is Valor Props. Have either of you ever cosplayed as a character from a game or show you've never watched, or watched but found a character you liked for a specific event or a convention? Oh, like BlizzCon, you want to go, but you want to do a Blizzard cosplay, even though you don't play Blizzard games. I don't know. Have you ever done that? Just cosplayed a character just because you thought they looked cool?
No, I haven't really done a whole lot of it. Most of my costume experience has just been, for Halloween. I tend to recycle stuff just because, I don't have a lot of time for building. And then, of course, my judge outfit, just because that's the suit I've wanted since I was 15. So
yeah. And when you have a costume like that, you put in the time and money to build a costume like that.
Yeah.
You get as much life out of that as you can.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a character. I usually do characters from video games because I really love video games. I've been playing the crap out of Destiny, so my last costume was the Destiny costume. My new one is the Destiny costume. For Dragon Con, I'm working on one from Highlander, which is my favorite movie. So definitely watch that one a couple times. And actually, I have another one. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it's from the movie Ant-Man. And I am saying that it is technically an Ant-Man costume. But that's all I'm going to say now. It's a sort of a casual, funny costume for Dragon Con. But
is it an ant?
No, that would be pretty funny. I want to dress up as Anthony. Yeah, no, I haven't really done that, but I tell people too, like for me, a lot of times when I pick a character or a costume to build, the visual aesthetic of that character is the most important to me. Other people prefer a character that they like to relate to. I just want to look badass. I just tend to pick from video games that I've already played. But if you see something you think just looks really cool and you want to build it, then go for it. Thank you, Valor Props. Let's see. Yeah, Mike, do you have any costumes that you're looking forward to maybe working on?
Well, a long time on my build list is really doing my Sauron armor upright. Mm-hmm. And kind of what I'm thinking of doing is not so much making a costume out of it, since 99% of the time your costume is sitting on a mannequin. Yeah. Looking cool. So why not just build it for the mannequin? So I'm thinking that, build it as big as I can that's still going to fit in the house. Or actually, I was going to build it to scale with my good resin helmet, which would put it about 8 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And build a mannequin that'll fit in. And of course, Sauron's such a skinny bastard that I doubt I could squeeze into it.
That's cool, though. It's more of a display piece than a costume.
Right.
I like that. I'll tell you what, I have a list, Google Doc that I keep with all of my costumes I want to make. And then I go and see a new movie, and that list never gets smaller.
No, it does not.
I'll scratch 1 or 2 things off a year, and I'll add a dozen every year. Yep. That is the life we lead. All right, this next question comes from Jack Brick 101. For painting foam that will flex and bend, what brand or type of paint do you use for a primer, and what do you use for color? I've been having issues with some hard cracking on my pieces using Rust-Oleum spray paints. I would warn you against using anything that is an enamel, because that's going to cure or dry totally solid and crack. And I would lean you towards acrylics, specifically leather working acrylic paints. Have you done much leather working, Mike?
As little as I have to do.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like for Theoden, I just farmed out the armor to Fev because so much better at it. And I'd love to pick up the skill, but only so many hours in the day, and I'd much rather have my helmet looking awesome. So
yeah, and Lee's the best, so why not, right?
Yeah.
But there's a line of paints called Angelus paints that are meant for leather that actually work really well on foam too. They're mostly just acrylic. And then there's this other stuff I got to use when I was working down in LA last month. Nova Color is what it's called. Nova Color makes their whole paint, novacolorpaint.com. Here it is. This stuff was really great. Again, it's acrylic paint, but it worked really, really well for painting on foam. It covers really well. They have tons of colors. You can order a sheet they'll give you that's got swatches of everything on it, so you can pick colors. You'll see how they actually will turn out.
Does that come in a rattle can?
What was that?
Does that come in a rattle can?
No, it's all just jars of paint, jars of color. And so we used either brushed it on or just thinned it and sprayed it with an HVLP sprayer.
What about a spray latex?
Yeah, actually, I haven't done much spray latex, but I got some, and that's what I'm going to be doing on this armor right here. Spraying it with latex. Awesome. We'll see. I'll keep everyone up to date on how that goes. Have you done much of that?
I've got a couple of cans. I can't remember what I used them for, but
I'm looking for. Yeah, it's really durable. It's really flexible, so I'm looking forward to that. But this Nova Color I used, and it's really good too. I was impressed at how elastic the dried paint was. So novacolorpaint.com, and again, we'll put a link to that in the description. Paint and prices. Their website looks like it was made in 1995, but it's a good product. Here, just a quick look at the colors that they have. They're very, very thorough with their color.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, for someone who's absolute rubbish at mixing color, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I would prefer to buy paint the color that I need it.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Jack Brick 101 for your question. Got time for one or two more. This one comes in from Tim. He says, a follow-up on the boots. He says, the reason I was doing the wood base was from the Evil Ted video. Awesome. But if I didn't use wood, will foam stick to the boot soles okay using barge cement? I bet it will, because barge was designed to stick rubber onto leather for shoes, and it sticks to foam really well. So I bet it will stick to your foam if you use that on the soles as well. Again, do your small scale tests on some scrap beforehand.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you, Mike, have you seen any of Evil Ted's videos?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, if you're looking to get into do any more foam stuff, his videos are a really great jumping off point. There you go. Thank you, Tim, for your question. That's about it for the questions today, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Actually, some really great questions. We have everyone in the chat. Do I have a picture of that? Yeah, look, we got everyone going on in the chat right now. You guys are awesome. Everyone's sort of chatting back and forth. We've got all of you guys. A lot of regular names. We started that chat a few months ago, and we're starting to see lots of regular names in there, which is fun. Thank you, Mike, for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate the invite. This was fun.
It went, I think, you seemed a little worried maybe on the technical end, but it went great.
That was it exactly.
Once again,
once
again, everyone, go over to Blind Squirrel Props and check out everything Mike's working on over there. Follow his Twitter and Facebook as well, for sure, because he's always keeping that up to date. I know I follow it. I know I'm always keeping up to date with that stuff. So that's it. Thanks again for the questions, everyone. This has been a great episode of Prop Live, and we will do this again next week just for 1 hour, not 16 in a row. All right. Bye, everybody.